Welcome into A to Z Prime Time on this Monday night, August the 12th. Lovely to have you in for another episode of the Prime Time program. So we've got NFL quarterback traits ranked by one former NFL quarterback himself, and where Will Levis stacks up in a specific category as elite. We're going to get into that tonight. We're also going to talk about, in a perfect world, of these 7 categories that quarterbacks were separated into, where would you like to see Will Levis take the biggest step among the quarterback traits? There's 7 of them. The Dan Orlovsky of ESPN and NFL Live had these guys separated into categories, into buckets that way. I'm going to give you the 7 categories and then let you pick which one you would like to see Will Levis take the biggest step in by this coming season's end. We got In Case You Missed It with Robert Walsh. We'll see how it goes. He's threatened to simulate another earthquake like what happened to Malika Andrews on the NBA today. Later this evening, we will see whether he comes to the forefront that way or not. We've got a lot of different things to cover. And also, there's the news league-wide of Hassan Reddick requesting a trade from the New York Jets. And the Jets saying, no, we're not planning to trade you, especially with the Titans being in the market for a pass rusher. It is a situation worth monitoring. Brandon Knowles says, Buck, what did you think overall of that first preseason team versus, are you saying game or team? First preseason team versus Vrabel's first preseason team. I feel like Callahan looked way more polished already than Vrabel ever had a team. I think one, did you go back and watch Vrabel's first preseason game? Because I would have to go back and watch that situation in 2018. Assuming that you did not, and assuming that you're just taking your feelings about it, I understand that people want Brian Callahan to be better than Mike Vrabel because Mike Vrabel obviously got fired, and everything that happened, the success that you had with Vrabel through the first, we'll call it 4 years, and how it trailed off in the last 2 left bad vibes with you, and you want to see improvement upon that. But listen, Brian Callahan would be lucky to start as well as Mike Vrabel did. And I understand that Mike Vrabel took over a significantly better team than Brian Callahan did, but silly stuff like, did I think they looked more polished in their first preseason game? Man, I don't know. It's preseason. These things have some value, some level of importance. But again, you would want Brian Callahan to have as successful a start as Mike Vrabel did. Mike Vrabel won at a clip with this franchise that was second only to Jack Pardee, who was one of the first coaches of the Tennessee Titans, Houston Oilers franchise. So, we don't have to get bogged down with stuff like that. I don't think that's a real thing. I don't think there's anything to be made about it. And I don't care what they look like until the regular season. Polished in the preseason is great. It gives us something to talk about. Regular season matters more than anything. So, let's not get crazy. Let's not get ahead of ourselves with comparing coaches before one of them has actually coached an NFL game about who looks more polished or not. Anyway, we're here to talk about Will Levis and elite traits, if not elite trait, singular, that this quarterback possesses, and how Dan Orlovsky broke that down today on ESPN.com. So we'll get into that together. Need you guys to share the show on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and on Twitch, wherever you are spending your evening with us. In the comment section where you can interact. If you're hanging out on Twitter, please retweet the show, bottom right-hand corner of your screen. Facebook Live, you can share now to public. That's in the bottom left. YouTube and Twitch is also how you get involved. Leave a like on the video there. Now, Bert does do some research here and points out that Vrabel went 0-4 in his first preseason before the NFL switched to a 17-game regular season format and had 4 preseason games. I believe we switched to 17 regular season games in 2021 or 2022. If memory serves. So, yeah, Brian Callahan got a win in his first preseason game. Mike Vrabel did not get a win in his first preseason. So if you want to extrapolate out from there, that's fine too. Let's go ahead and get this show started, though, and talk about the quarterback as opposed to the coaches before we have a representative sample size, because we do have a representative sample size of Will Levis, and he is the most important thing to all of this team's success this coming year. Welcome into A to Z Sports Prime Time from the Zen Sports Studio. I'm your host, Buck Rising. I'm proud, as always, to be presented to you by the wonderful people at Zen Sports. Download the app, plug in the promo code ATOZTN, get up to $100 on your no-danger first wager at zensports.com. TrueMav Fitness, where your first workout is free as a Middle Tennessee resident. No workout ever recycled or repeated. TrueMav Fitness puts you in position to succeed and achieve your fitness goals. Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer and your Ford Bronco headquarters. Go to Two Rivers Ford in Mount Juliet or online at tworiversford.com for more information. All right, so this article on ESPN.com. Now, I don't see Dan Orlovsky do a lot of writing for ESPN, but Dan's opinion, Dan's evaluation of these players matters a great deal. He, of course, has been doing an excellent job calling games and breaking down specifically quarterback play and offensive play on NFL Live for the past couple of years. And Dan today had an article go up on ESPN.com about ranking the best NFL quarterbacks in 7 different traits. So what are the 7 different traits that he broke these quarterbacks down into categories? Arm strength, ball placement, mechanics, decision-making, pocket presence, rushing ability, and second reaction. Now, I will tell you that Levis only appears once on the top 10 players in each of those respective categories, but it is a trait that is as valuable, arguably, as any that quarterbacks can possess, because not all quarterbacks have the kind of gifts that Will Levis has right out of the gate as a raw, toolsy type of player. But I think that those 7 categories, arm strength, ball placement, mechanics, decision-making, pocket presence, rushing ability, and second reaction, are all so important to being the most well-rounded version of the quarterback. So we're going to go through each of the categories and talk about where we feel Will Levis is at right now and where we would like to see him improve the most now that he is working under a coaching staff that has never been more tailored to the quarterback position. So with that, we will start with your Two Rivers Ford take on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and on Twitch in the comments section. If you think Will Levis has one elite quarterback trait, what would it be out of those 7 categories? Arm strength, ball placement, mechanics, decision-making, pocket presence, rushing ability, and second reaction. Is Will Levis elite in any of those categories by your estimation? You guys tell me which category you feel like Levis has the best advantage in. We'll talk about it together right after I remind you that the Primetime program is made possible by Two Rivers Ford. They also make your Two Rivers Ford take possible. The South's most trusted Ford dealer is Two Rivers Ford in Mount Juliet, or online at tworiversford.com, where they offer you the opportunity to come check out the new Ford Broncos, new or certified pre-owned at Two Rivers Ford. They are your Ford Bronco headquarters. And I'm sure you've seen the new look Broncos, either the Broncos in all manner of trim packages or the Broncos Sport, like so many people drive around the streets of Middle Tennessee and all over the country. Two Rivers Ford is there to help you learn more about the Ford Bronco, even if you're not in the market for a vehicle. If you want to test drive one for yourself, go to Two Rivers Ford in Mount Juliet or online at tworiversford.com, the South's most trusted Ford dealer. So, is Will Levis elite in any of those 7 categories that we have described that Dan Orlovsky has these quarterbacks broken down? Cricket says, I like Dan for the most part, but this article felt a bit biased. I'd like more explanation on that because I'm not sure where you felt that bias through. I myself did not read that as anything that was coming through with bias. I'm not sure who you would allege that Dan Orlovsky would be biased to or towards in that article. And, Dan has opinions, of course, but this is based on tape study and analysis as much as it is opinion. John Pomfret says that Will Levis has elite pocket presence, arm strength for Chase Rennie, mechanics for B. French, arm strength for Titans Kyle, Stephen King, Karen O'Keefe, and Mike Hobbs. Definitely arm strength, says Jimmy Holland on Facebook Live. So that is where Will Levis makes the appearance in the arm strength, in the elite arm strength category, in the top 10 of quarterbacks who have arm strength. And Orlovsky's open looks like this. The NFL is loaded with talent at quarterback, from Mahomes to Lamar, and rookies who haven't even taken a regular season snap yet. But who are the top signal callers in specific areas of the game, who really excels in one aspect of his play and stands above the rest? He writes, to answer that question, I decided to stack the best of the best in 7 different traits, not arm traits, which I've read to you. These top 10 lists are based on current performance and expectations for the 2024 season, how I would rank the quarterback group at this moment in each skill. So arm strength is the first category, and Will Levis ranks 6th in the arm strength category. Mahomes, Allen, Herbert, Stafford, Rodgers, and then Will Levis. Below Will Levis are Baker Mayfield, Anthony Richardson, Dak Prescott, and Lamar Jackson. And this is the summation specifically about Levis. I have a pair of sophomore quarterbacks here too. Levis can thread the ball with his big arm, and if you go back to the Titans' Monday night win over the Dolphins in Week 14, you'll see some really firm passes. And everyone knows about Richardson's powerful arm. If you don't, check out this out route to Colts tight end Mo Alley-Cox from last October. He can fire it. So it is a hyperlink to a play breakdown of Anthony Richardson and his tight end Mo Alley-Cox. But both of those sophomore quarterbacks are in the elite arm strength category. Will Levis at the podium after Saturday night's preseason win was asked a couple of different questions, but specifically about the rhythm of the passing game. Because while Levis does have elite arm strength, absolutely so, arm strength is not the most important thing for a quarterback, even though it is an important characteristic to have at your disposal.
Think about the timing of the passing offense overall, and where are you guys with that?
It was good. It was good. I think there's a couple things route-wise and progression-wise with us when we could have moved on faster, or guys just making sure they understand the progression of the play and why they need to, either get to a certain depth or just make sure that they have that internal timing with their routes. So that's something we're going to continue to work on, and we got a few more weeks till we play for the real thing, and we know that we're just going to get better until then.
So that's Will Levis talking about the rhythm of the passing game specific to Saturday. We're going to get into Will Levis's work on Saturday here in just a second, right after I remind you that the Primetime program is presented by TrueMath Fitness in the Gulch. Arm Farm Fridays are my favorite day at TrueMath Fitness, but you can get a great workout in 7 days a week, whether it is their group fitness classes. You want to sign up for personal training because that's what the Arm Farm Fridays are, or you can go and get their great workout or a great workout in at their top-notch facility, conveniently located downtown here in Nashville in the Gulch. TrueMath Fitness has everything that you need to maximize and achieve your fitness goals. Go to TrueMathFitness.com for your first workout free as a Middle Tennessee resident. No workout ever recycled or repeated at TrueMathFitness.com. So Levis talking about the rhythm of the passing game. Now, do you have to have a rhythmic passing game, or rather, do you have to have elite arm strength to have a rhythmic passing game? Because getting a quarterback in rhythm, getting an offense into a rhythm, into a flow is important. It's important to have a flow as a play caller, to be able to stack plays in a drive, in a series, in a game from possession to possession, and to be able to build confidence and create the most advantageous situation for your players as a product of your scheme. So, do you need to have elite arm strength to be able to have a rhythmic passing game? No, not necessarily. But is having elite arm strength an incredible advantage at your disposal? Because not every quarterback has it. Absolutely so. The kind of quarterbacks that Levis is listed up there with, Mahomes, Allen, Herbert, Matt Stafford, Aaron Rodgers, he is ranked as the most unproven commodity, or is ranked higher than any other unproven commodity right now in the NFL, according to Orlovsky, right between Aaron Rodgers and Baker Mayfield. Will Levis can make throws to any part of the football field, and the only difference is that Mahomes and Allen are better on the run to be able to launch from different platforms, where Levis has to be more mechanically sound than those others. And I would argue he has to be more mechanically sound than Herbert, Stafford, or Rodgers to be able to execute with efficiency the kind of throws that his arm talent will give him the opportunity to make, but that the rest of his game has to improve for him to be able to successfully use it as a consistent weapon, right? Arm strength matters, but it's not the most important thing. It is something at your disposal that cannot be coached, cannot be taught. It is, by right of genetics or, from a higher power, whatever you want to call it. The football gods blessed Will Levis with an incredibly strong arm, an incredibly talented arm. And with this, there are a lot of things that he can fine tune, and having that arm strength as a baseline is not the worst place to start. But ball placement, mechanics, decision-making, pocket presence, rushing ability, and second reaction, those are the other 6 categories, and Levis does not appear at any point in the top 10 in any other of those groups. So with Will Levis and his, elite trait, there is no question that his elite trait is incredibly valuable, but it is not the most valuable thing for a quarterback to have. And that is what we're getting ready to talk about coming up next, where you want to see him improve most in this coming season in any one of those 6 remaining categories. Brandon Knowles says the fact that he can bomb it with little to no pocket, which he has shown last year, is wild. I agree. Lone Star Titan says Will Levis will grow and learn this year. Please, hopefully this new offensive line gives him some time in the pocket. Correct. The offensive line's progress is critical to Will Levis being able to grow and develop in any one of these 6, in any one of those 7 categories, frankly. I mean, arm strength is not something that's going to go away for the foreseeable future, right? And as he ages, his arm strength will decrease. That is the most, the quality that will depreciate the most about him, right, as he continues in his NFL career. But the offensive line will give him the opportunity to grow and develop other parts of his game if it is successfully constructed. And that is why they spent so much investment on the offensive line, free agency dollars, and draft capital this past offseason. So the question that we're going to ask you next is, which quarterback trait does Will Levis need to improve the most in year 2 of those 6 remaining categories? Let me know in the comment section. We'll talk about it together. You'll again hear from Will Levis in just a moment, right after I remind you that the Primetime program is made possible by Zen Sports. Download the app, plug in the promo code ATOZTN, get up to $100 on your no danger first wager. Betting on football is back at Zen Sports, so download the app, plug in that promo code. Terms and conditions do apply. Must be 21 plus and in the state of Tennessee to bet. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line, 1-800-889-9789 at Zen Sports. They will get you in the best position to succeed. They will help you enjoy betting. Just gets better at Zen Sports is what I'm trying to say poorly. Okay, so of those 6 remaining categories, where do you want to see Will Levis improve the most in 2025? Chosen says his accuracy needs to improve. MB says he needs to learn and grow with the offense he's in. That's what the greats do. They're not changing offenses every couple of years. Decision-making for Titans. Kyle, pocket presence for Stephen King. Halo on YouTube says the decision-making needs to be a plus. Slide says Chris Short, talking about, because that's a part of decision making, right? So let's take that sequence on the first drive that the Titans starting offense got in the preseason after Kearis Jackson's 63-yard return and a 15-yard penalty on the Niners sideline for interference set the Titans offense up inside the red zone on that first drive. So you run the ball on the first 2 plays, you call a passing play, and Will Levis scrambles. Levis takes off to his right, sees a path to the end zone, can't get there before the defenders do, thinks about jumping, hurtling into the end zone in a preseason game, doesn't, still takes a couple of pretty solid hits, and doesn't get down in time to draw the penalty. Now they end up getting a penalty flag anyway on the defense for holding, but still, that's a part of the decision-making process. I would be completely fine if they took a field goal there. If he threw it away on a 3rd down in a preseason game, didn't take the hit, and took the points anyway. Now, They won 17-13. So the rushing touchdown that they ultimately ended up scoring on that first drive, they scored 2 rushing touchdowns on their first 2 offensive possessions with the starting units. Yeah, you would like to see them punch it in for points, and winning does matter. So ultimately they were trying to secure a win, but a win in the preseason is not so important to put your body on the line that way. And this dude got cracked on the first possession of his preseason, starting out when they're doing everything they can to protect the quarterback. So decision-making matters here. And I think there's a lot of this that has to come into play that goes beyond just like going through his progressions and what decision he makes in the passing game, right? His decision as a mobile quarterback, his decisions operating the huddle. I want Will Levis to be more of a game manager. I want Will Levis to be more of a system quarterback. And that was a point that I made today on the radio show, because they're all supposed to be. Every quarterback, if they're doing their jobs correctly, is a system quarterback. They're playing within the structure of the system. Every quarterback is tasked with managing various different kinds of game situations. It is what 2 of the negative connotations that I most want to work to dispel. System quarterback and game manager are good things, not bad things. And that you have a guy who can also wow you with some incredible arm talent and push the ball down the field is a part of it, but it's not the most important thing. So looking at this, where would I like to see him improve the most? I would agree that decision-making is the place that I would like to improve the most. Now, Bert is holding up his phone to me for some reason. I don't know if you're holding that up for me or for somebody else, Bert, but was it Ian Harditz's profile?
Remember we were talking about, this fantasy guy follows me, and I was like, it's this guy.
No, it's not Ian Hartitz.
Oh, okay.
But Ian Hartitz does follow me. That's right. You can find me.
You son of
we'll deal with shirtless Bert later when we get to in case you missed it. I'm sure he's brought plenty of things for us to break down. But decision making is the most important thing to see him improve, because I think if his decision making improves, if his mechanics or decision making, I would take either or of the remaining 6 categories. Mechanics are important. Decision making is important. Everything else will improve if those 2 categories take a significant step in the upcoming season, and they should, because Levis has never had a more quarterback-specific staff than he does right now. So that's where we're at with Will Levis. Will Levis asked questions about mechanics, about improvement in this preseason game on Saturday. This was what the quarterback had to say.
Winning meaning something, even in the preseason, with winning habits and culture. I guess, can you speak about that from your perspective as a leader in this locker room, what even a preseason win can do for a team?
Yeah, no, we got to get used to winning. And winning's fun, and there's a certain responsibility that comes with it. So hopefully, we can do our best in all these games and get a feel for that winning atmosphere and just keep rolling. We're excited for next week to get Seattle here and to get a couple of joint practices with them. That's going to be great for us, and then to play them here. So we got our eyes on them already, and we're excited to have them.
How'd you like how you guys in the running game, and how good do you think that Tyjae Spears, Tony Pollard combination can be for you?
Yeah, they're both great at so many different things, and we're going to be able to keep defenses guessing with the different schemes that we're throwing at them. I think we gave a good variety tonight with the different ways we were able to give them the ball, and they're going to be huge pieces in both the run game, obviously, but also the pass game.
So that's Will Levis speaking about getting used to winning, because this team has been a loser for the past 2 seasons. And these new players, this new collection of players, has to get used to winning with one another. So that's kind of where they are at with these things. A to Z Sports Primetime is made possible by the wonderful people at the Ashton Real Estate Group of RE/MAX Advantage. Don't sell without the intel that only the Ashton team can provide to you. Get the Ashton advantage with the intel edge that you need to succeed at GaryAshton.com. Speaking of advantages, Bert is not one, but we will welcome him into the proceedings anyway, for in case you missed it, and see what wonders from the internet Bert has brought us.
What's going on, you? Can I say bastard?
Yeah, you can say bastard.
All right, what's going on, you bastard?
Theoretically, you can say whatever you want to. It's an internet show, but that's.
No, I don't like getting in trouble though. You're so much better at not getting in trouble for saying things you shouldn't. I always get in trouble for some things that I shouldn't even get in trouble for, but you get in trouble for 0. So it pisses me off, you bastard.
What are you going to do? Continue.
There's nothing I can do except for maybe cuss and quit. So a lot of stuff happened. I was going to show you, and I might still show you Malika Andrews, where there was a earthquake in California today. It happened live when she was on the air, and then I remembered we got Titans football this weekend. And anytime you get Titans football, that means you get Titans radio. It's kind of like give a mouse a cookie. If you give a mouse a cookie, then he's going to want to live with you. If you let him live with you, then he's not going to pay rent. If you're not going to pay rent, we all know this. You've probably had a mouse live with you before. Coach Mack is exceptional at everything he does, but one thing that he beats everyone else at is the euphemisms, the countryisms, the Coach Mackisms.
Tear up Jack and skin Jenny on them.
What? Zentner's end-over-end punt is going to land at the 6 and go into and through. What did you just say? Into and through the end zone for a touchback.
I said you want to tear up Jack and skin Jenny. You ever see a mule team?
No.
That you work hard?
I mean, I've seen a mule team, but I mean, what is that?
Mule team, Jack and Jenny.
That's what is that what they're always called?
Yeah.
Jack and Jenny.
Yeah, so if you're working real hard, you've tore them up. That's what we want to do to this team. I'm going to give you a glossary of these things, Mike, so you can be ready.
I mean, what does that even mean? I mean, it doesn't sound good. You know that, right?
No, I thought it sounded great. Rhett liked it.
Yeah, I love that Mike is just calling the game while this chicanery is going on. He's like, I once killed a man in El Paso for looking at me funny. Zentner's punt goes end over end and bounces. Coach Mack, did you just admit to murder? Yeah, I did it. Bastard looked at me wrong. Like you can't shake him.
The two of them together are excellent. Titans fans, and I'm not going to pretend to have listened to every team radio broadcast in all 32 NFL markets, but I've heard enough to know that Mac and Mike are two of the best doing it. It is, I know there's a lot of disappointment about the way the Titans are covered, large scale and things like that. But as far as a local broadcast team goes, and yeah, there's some homerism to it, but if you're a Titans fan, you want some of that on top of the excellent analysis and preparation that Mike Keith and Coach Mack both bring. So even in the preseason, they are must listen, must watch. They are excellent at what it is that they do.
Yeah, most, and in all honesty, this is just bluntness for me. Most team broadcasts suck. Yeah. Most team radio stations are not good. They cannot blend the line of homerism and actual coverage. Coach Mack can do that. Coach Mack and Mike Keith do that flawlessly. Have you ever worked through an earthquake before?
Not worked through one, but I have felt one.
Oh, you were done? That was it?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So I guess you're from Indiana, so you never had to do like hurricane coverage. But back in North Carolina, whenever there was a hurricane,
tornadoes are a thing in the entirety of the Midwest. I would rather do hurricane drills than I almost cussed than a damn tornado. Tornadoes are way less predictable.
No, man, come on. Are you kidding me?
A hurricane, you spend 2 weeks watching the path of the hurricane. The tornado just drops out of the sky and throws a cow through your window.
A hurricane is tornado with water. Ain't nobody getting flooded because of a tornado.
You see them coming. You track.
You can see a tornado coming. You can be like
until the tornadoes are 10
little clouds.
10 times more random. If you think that a hurricane is a better or a worse alternative to a tornado, you are a fool.
I would take tornadoes. I would take tornadoes over hurricanes every single day.
Like somebody who did not live through multiple tornadoes in their lifetime.
This is like, I would rather starve to death. No, I'd rather die of thirst. Malika Andrews at ESPN Today dealt with what we were talking about.
Home country in these Olympics.
And it was so much fun to see, particularly the crowd sort of getting behind as we have a bit of an earthquake here in Los Angeles. So we're just going to make sure that our studio lights, everything stays safe, everything's shaking. You good, Mylan? Everybody good? All right, thank you so much for bearing with us through that. Our studio was shaking just a little bit. Tarsi, if you're still good in the studio and everyone's still good. All right, so this is what I want to show you now. Rebecca, I appreciate you just bearing with us here.
Tossed a package.
She's like, do you know how old Malika Andrews is? She's like 26. It is You want to talk about things that hurt me deep down inside as far as the talent and the level of broadcast ability that any one of us in these professions possess. She is an absolute superstar. If there was any such thing as being too good at the skill of broadcasting, Malika Andrews is top-notch professional. I am not a professional broadcaster. I've never been a professional broadcaster, and that was evident on the pregame show that I hosted for an hour with Blaine Bishop and Brad Hopkins this week, where I completely forgot what I was doing and just made it about myself yet again. But I have so much respect for people who are actual professional broadcasters and not just loudmouths with microphones in front of their face, because I would have panicked, curled up in the fetal position on camera, and then run screaming out of the studio if that had been me.
She'll have a job at ESPN until she doesn't want one anymore, until
Right.
she's 40 and she's at the peak of her career, and then ESPN executives will think that she's old and no longer want to renew her contract. That's how it'll go.
Well, that was depressing at the end.
Oh, wait. Oh! I think, Buck. I gotta end the show early. It's shaking like hell over here. You going to?
I hate him so much. That's going to do it for us tonight here on the Primetime program. Thanks for hanging out with us. Tomorrow on the radio show, the Vols had a scrimmage, not just preseason football over the weekend, but Tennessee also had a scrimmage. We will get the latest from Jason Swain, who is their radio sideline reporter, of course, the great former Vol wide receiver as well. He'll be on the radio show tomorrow at 10:20. We'll talk a lot more preseason football. Matthew Butcher says hope Ert's okay. I hope he's not. I hope he's missing some kind of limb, potentially even loss of life.
Someone come get my cats!
The only reason that I do not wish harm upon him is because I don't want to have to do the primetime show by myself the way that we used to in the early days. So with that said, that is going to do it for us tonight. Radio show 10 to 1 on 104.5 The Zone. Tune in. Perhaps Bert will be there. Perhaps I'll have killed him myself. Find out tomorrow.
Go home! Go home! Go home! You're embarrassing Nashville! Go home!